So, I need to get this out because I've been sitting on this for almost a week now and I'm finally ready to act. You guys can judge whether what I'm about to do is justified or if I've completely lost it. Honestly, I don't even care anymore. I'm 29. Work in logistics coordination for a distribution company. Not glamorous, but I've been smart with money since I graduated. Bought my apartment 4 years ago when the market was down. 2-bedroom place in a decent building with a parking spot. It's fully mine. No mortgage left as of last year because I threw every bonus at it. That detail matters. Lucia moved in 9 months ago. We'd been dating about 5 months before that, and she brought up how her lease was ending, and rent in her area had gotten insane. She made it sound practical. Said she'd help with groceries and utilities, and it would save her a brutal commute. I agreed because I genuinely thought we were building towards something real. I liked coming home to her. I liked the idea of sharing my space with someone I cared about. I need you to pay attention to something. This man paid off his entire apartment by 28. No mortgage, owns it outright in this economy. You know how much discipline that takes? While everybody else is out here financing their 3rd vacation and wondering why their savings account looks like a phone number missing 6 digits, this dude was throwing every bonus at his principal like a man possessed. And now someone's about to try and finesse all of that work. I can already feel where this is going and my blood pressure is rising preemptively. Here's what I ignored because I'm apparently an idiot. Lucia never actually paid utilities. Not once in 9 months. There was always a reason. Her hours got cut or her paycheck was delayed or she had an unexpected expense. She started using my credit card for groceries, which became clothes and salon visits and things I'd notice on statements weeks later. When I mentioned it, she'd get this hurt expression and ask if I was really going to count every dollar when we were supposed to be partners. She made me feel like a controlling jerk for even bringing it up. So I stopped bringing it up. 9 months. 9 months of excuses and not one utility payment made it through. And you know what kills me? That manipulation tactic she used. Are you really going to count every dollar? That line right there is in the handbook. I'm convinced there's some underground PDF getting passed around teaching people how to gaslight their partners into financial servitude. Because the audacity to make him feel guilty for noticing that she is spending his money on salon visits while contributing literally nothing. That's not even manipulation anymore. That's performance art. That's a TED Talk on entitlement. My neighbor Nicholas is a retired guy in his 60s who's lived in the building for 20 years. We've always been friendly. He watches my place when I travel and I help him with his Wi-Fi when it acts up. Good guy who mostly keeps to himself but notices everything that happens on our floor. Last Thursday, I flew out for a work trip to handle some warehouse problems 3 states away. Was supposed to be gone until Monday. Friday night around 11 o'clock, my phone buzzed with a text from Nicholas. No words, just a video file and a short message saying he thought I should see something. The video was maybe 40 seconds long, filmed from his doorway looking toward my apartment. My front door was propped open and there were people everywhere. Music blasting into the hallway, strangers I'd never seen walking in and out carrying drinks. Nicholas had recorded the chaos. And then the video ended. Nicholas, my guy Nicholas, coming in clutch from the top rope. Folks, do you understand how valuable a neighbor like this is? He didn't gossip about it with other tenants. He didn't post it to the building group chat. He went directly to the source with video evidence. This man served 7 years of retirement watching his stories and waiting for exactly this moment. Nicholas probably saw that party kick off and thought, finally, my character arc begins. Protect your elders, guys. Water their plants. Fix their Wi-Fi. Because when someone's throwing a rager in your apartment while you're 3 states away, Nicholas is going to be there with his phone in landscape mode like a guardian angel. I texted asking what was happening and he said Lucia had apparently thrown a party. And when he knocked to ask them to keep it down, some random guy told him to go back to his apartment and mind his own business. Nicholas figured I had no idea this was happening. I called Lucia twice with no answer. Texted her asking what was going on. She responded an hour later saying she had a few friends over and everything was fine and I was being paranoid from 3 states away. A few friends. The video showed at least 25 people in my living room. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, Nicholas sent another message. Party still going. He heard glass break. Then he sent a second video. This one was longer, over a minute. He must have gotten closer because the audio was clearer. I could see into my apartment and there was Lucia standing on top of my couch with people gathered around her like she was giving a speech. I could hear pieces of what she was saying over the music. I watched that video 17 times in my hotel room. By the 18th time, I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm. I knew exactly what I was going to do. She has no idea I have this footage. I fly home tomorrow and she thinks everything is normal between us. I'll update soon. A few friends, 25 people, Lucia, 25 strangers trampling through a home you don't pay for, drinking alcohol you didn't buy, breaking things you can't replace, and she's standing on his couch. His couch? Giving speeches like she's accepting an award at the Freeloaders Grammys. But here's what's really cooking my brain right now. He watched it 17 times. 17, and by 18 he went cold. That transition from rage to calculated calm. That's when you know someone has crossed from I'm upset into I'm about to architect your downfall with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. She thought she was dating a pushover. She's about to find out she was dating a project manager who just moved her into the problem resolution column. Update 1. Alright, I'm back home and things have escalated. Buckle up. I landed Sunday afternoon instead of Monday. Told my supervisor I had a family emergency. Didn't tell Lucy I was coming early. Took an Uber from the airport instead of asking her to pick me up like usual. When I walked into my apartment, the first thing I noticed was the smell. Stale beer and something sweet like dried liquor in the carpet. The second thing was my coffee table. Solid wood piece I bought at an estate sale and refinished myself. There was a massive ring stain on the surface and a chip out of one corner. Lucia was on the couch watching her phone. Her face did this quick shift from surprise to a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She asked why I was back early and I said work got resolved faster than expected. She hugged me and I let her because I needed to see how far she would take this. I asked how her weekend was. She said quiet. Mostly stayed in watching movies. I asked if she had anyone over. She said her friend Celeste stopped by Saturday for a couple hours, but that was it. Looking right at my face while she said it. 9 months together and she could lie that smoothly without blinking. The smell hit him first. You ever walk into your own home and it smells like a frat house the morning after homecoming? That's not just disrespect, that's territorial. She marked his apartment with the scent of poor decisions and strangers' body heat. And then she looks him dead in his face and says, quiet weekend. Watch some movies. Movies. Folks, the woman hosted Coachella in his living room and she's sitting there like butter wouldn't melt. Describing her peaceful Netflix marathon. That's not lying anymore. That's creative fiction. She should be writing novels with that imagination. The coffee table he refinished by hand now has permanent damage. And she's spinning tales about candles like he's supposed to believe 25 drunk strangers showed up for a candle-lit meditation retreat. I walked around taking inventory. Crack in the bathroom mirror. Burn mark on my kitchen counter. 3 trash bags of empty bottles on my balcony. She clearly planned to dump before I returned. Dark stain on the carpet near the entrance. I asked about the coffee table. She said she knocked a candle over the mirror. It was like that before. The balcony trash. She'd been cleaning. Every answer immediate. No hesitation or guilt. Just smooth lies delivered like rehearsed lines. I told her I was tired from traveling. She seemed relieved I wasn't pushing harder. Said she'd ordered dinner and we could watch something later. I agreed and went to the bedroom. Here's the thing. I spent that entire flight not being angry. I spent it planning. I went through my banking app and checked every statement from 9 months. Calculated exactly how much she'd spent on my cards. Just over $6,000. Clothes, salon visits, restaurants when I was working, online shopping for things I never saw. $6,000 while contributing nothing to rent or utilities. $6,000. She extracted $6,000 from this man while living completely rent-free in his paid-off apartment. And she still had the nerve to throw a party that destroyed his furniture. Guys, think about the math here. 0 contributed, 6,000 extracted, property damaged, And she's out there telling party guests he's a joke. This woman really sat down with her salon appointments and her restaurant tabs and her mystery online shopping and thought, yes, this is sustainable. This man will never notice or care. She treated his bank account like it was a glitch in the Matrix. Free money appearing from nowhere, no consequences, no accountability. Well, guess what, Lucia? The audit just landed and the accountant is hostile. I also spent that flight listening to Nicholas's second video on repeat. The one where she's standing on my couch talking to the crowd. By the fifth listen, I heard every word clearly. And I have never been more motivated to methodically dismantle someone's comfortable existence. She thinks I'm tired and oblivious. She has no idea that while she's ordering takeout on my card, I'm in the bedroom drafting a formal notice that her living situation is about to change dramatically. But here's the complication. I checked my phone after pretending to nap and found texts from an unknown number. Lucia gave my number to her mother, Matilda, because Matilda wants to discuss our future together. Apparently, Lucia told her family we're getting engaged soon. More updates coming. I'm about to make moves. She told her family they're getting engaged. This woman is playing 4D chess on a board that doesn't exist. She's not just planning to stay. She's planning to upgrade. First the apartment, then the ring, then she gets her name on the deed. And before you know it, he's working overtime to fund her lifestyle while she tells her friends he's pathetic. But what I absolutely need everyone to appreciate is this man's patience. He's laying in bed pretending to nap while drafting legal notices. She's ordering DoorDash on his dime thinking everything's fine. And he's in there like a supervillain reviewing blueprints. The composure required to not immediately explode to let her keep lying while you stack evidence like building blocks. That's not petty revenge. That's engineering. Update 2. So, I met with Matilda. Yeah, I know some of you are asking why, but trust me, it was strategic. She wanted to meet at a restaurant to discuss the engagement timeline. Lucia had told her I was planning to propose by month's end, and we were looking at spring wedding venues. Complete fiction. I never mentioned marriage once in 9 months. I sat across from this woman and listened to her talk about how happy she was. Lucia finally found someone stable, someone who could provide. She mentioned how Lucia's last relationships ended because those men couldn't handle a strong woman. She said Lucia deserved someone who would take care of her financially because she'd had such a hard time finding steady work. And there it was, the whole picture clicking into place. The lore is deep. Those men couldn't handle a strong woman. Translation, they figured out the scheme and bounced. Every single ex that couldn't handle her was just a previous mark who woke up before the operation was complete. This isn't Lucia's first rodeo. She has a pattern, a documented history of finding financially stable men, moving in, extracting resources, and then playing victim when they catch on. And Mama Matilda over here is basically her handler, showing up to meetings like a talent agent negotiating contracts. When are you adding her to the deed? She asks. Casual as you please, like it's normal to discuss property transfers over appetizers 9 months into dating. This is a family business, and he just got recruited without signing up. Lucia wasn't just using me, she was trained for this. Her mother casually explained that a good partner should handle money while Lucia focused on building the home. She asked when I planned to add Lucia to my apartment deed, asked if I'd considered putting her on my bank accounts. She talked about these things like they were normal expectations for a 9-month relationship. I smiled through the whole lunch, told Matilda I wanted everything perfect before proposing. She seemed satisfied. When I got home, Lucia asked how lunch went. I said nice. Her mom had interesting ideas about our future. She looked pleased. No idea I was now operating on a completely different level. That night, I canceled all my credit cards and reported them lost. New cards coming to my office, not my apartment. I also called my building manager about formally removing an occupant not on the lease. 30-day written notice minimum. She looked pleased. No idea I was now operating on a completely different level. That night, I canceled all my credit cards and reported them lost. New cards coming to my office, not my apartment. I also called my building manager about formally removing an occupant not on the lease. 30-day written notice minimum. Operating on a completely different level is the understatement of the century. He sat through that entire lunch watching Matilda basically present the business plan, smiled like he was interested, went home, and then initiated the nuclear option while Lucia thought she'd secured the bag. New cards to the office, not the apartment, the office. Because he knows if those cards show up at home, she's going to intercept them like a heat-seeking missile locked onto his financial stability. And calling the building manager about formal eviction procedures while she's in the other room thinking she's about to be a fiancé. This is cinema. This is poetry. This man is conducting a symphony of consequences and she's still humming along, thinking she's in a different song entirely. Wednesday, I told Lucia we needed to talk. Asked when she planned to contribute to household expenses. Asked about her job situation since she'd been vague for months. She got defensive immediately. Relationships aren't transactional. I was ruining the mood by bringing up money. She asked if this was about the credit cards and said she thought we were past that. Called me petty and controlling. Said her mother warned her some men get weird about finances when insecure. So I asked directly what exactly did she tell her mother about us getting engaged? She froze for 2 seconds then recovered. Said she might have mentioned we discussed it casually and her mom probably ran with it. I asked if she said I was proposing this month. She said she didn't remember specifically. Maybe her mom misheard more lies. Constant effortless lies. Her mother warned her some men get weird about finances when insecure. Insecure. The man who owns his home outright is insecure about finances. The man who paid off a mortgage while she contributed zero is being petty for asking basic questions. Guys, this is textbook Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. He asks a reasonable question and suddenly he's the problem. He's the controlling one. He's insecure. She weaponized therapy language to make him feel crazy for having boundaries. And that two-con freeze when he mentioned the engagement, that was her hard drive buffering, trying to figure out how much he knew. She recovered fast, but that pause told him everything. The cracks were showing, and she couldn't patch them fast enough. I told her I needed space to think. She asked what that meant. I said I wasn't sure. She spent the evening being unusually sweet, making dinner, suggesting movies. Classic damage control. Thursday morning, I drafted the 30-day notice. Haven't given it to her yet. Waiting for the right moment because I still haven't shown her Nicholas's video. I want her to understand exactly why her life is about to fall apart before I hand her that paper. Her friend Celeste has been texting constantly. I saw notifications on her screen. Something about needing to talk urgently about that night. More soon. Celeste is panicking. You can feel it through the screen. Those urgent texts are absolutely girl, he might know something. We need to get our story straight energy. The rats are sensing the ship is taking on water and they're trying to coordinate their exit strategy. But Lucia still doesn't know about the video. She doesn't know Nicholas documented everything. She's out here making apology dinners and suggesting movie nights, thinking she can sweet-talk her way back into his good graces, completely unaware that there's a 40-second clip of her standing on his couch, calling him pathetic to a room full of strangers. He's waiting for the right moment. He wants maximum impact. This man isn't just evicting her. He's directing the finale. Final update. I played the video for her last night and yeah, it was everything I'd been waiting for. I came home from work and she was on the couch scrolling her phone. I sat down across from her and said we needed to have a real conversation. She started with a defensive posture immediately, asking if this was about money again and saying she was tired of feeling like she had to justify herself. I told her I knew about the party. Her face went still. She started saying it was just a few friends and things got a little out of hand, but nothing serious happened. I let her talk, let her build up her story about how Celeste brought extra people and it wasn't her fault and she was going to tell me eventually. Then I pulled out my phone and played Nicholas's second video. The one where she's standing on my couch giving her little speech to the crowd. I watched her face as she heard her own voice. Y'all want to know the truth? My boyfriend is the biggest joke I've ever dated. A spineless pushover with zero self-respect. He worships me like a god and it's actually disgusting. I'm only here for the free rent and his credit cards. The crowd in the video laughed and cheered. She watched herself say those words, and for once she had nothing ready. He worships me like a god, and it's actually disgusting. She said that on his couch in his apartment to strangers drinking his alcohol. She took every ounce of love and care this man poured into the relationship and turned it into a punchline for people who don't even know his last name. Folks, that's not drunk talk. Alcohol doesn't create opinions. It reveals them. That speech came from somewhere real. She genuinely found his devotion pathetic. She genuinely thought she'd found the perfect mark, someone who cared so much he'd never question her. And the crowd cheered. They laughed. A room full of strangers celebrated the humiliation of a man whose home they were trashing, watching her face as she hurt herself. That's not revenge. That's a mirror finally being held up to someone who spent 9 months avoiding her own reflection. She tried to explain. Said she was drunk and showing off and didn't mean any of it. Said people say stupid things at parties. Said I was taking it out of context and she loved me and this was just a bad moment. I asked her what context makes that acceptable. She couldn't answer. I handed her the 30-day notice. Told her she had until the end of the month to find somewhere else to live. My cards were already canceled. The new ones were at my office. She wasn't getting another dollar from me. She went from apologetic to angry fast. Called me vindictive and said I was overreacting to one drunk rant. Said her mother was right that I'd eventually show my true colors. She grabbed her phone and started texting furiously. Probably Celeste or Matilda. Her mother was right that you'd eventually show your true colors. His true colors. This man housed her for free for 9 months. He let her spend $6,000 of his money. He refinished furniture she destroyed. He ignored every red flag because he actually loved her. And his true colors are the problem. The audacity to pivot from I didn't mean it to you're the villain in 30 seconds flat tells you everything about how her brain works. She's not sorry she said it. She's sorry she got caught saying it. The anger that came out when the apology didn't work. That's the real Lucia. That's who she's been the whole time. The sweet girlfriend was the performance. The rage was the reality. Over the next 2 weeks, she tried everything. Her mother showed up at my building demanding to talk, and I told the front desk not to let her up. Lucia cried and apologized and promised to change. Then she got angry again and accused me of recording her without consent and threatened vague consequences. Then back to crying. Her friend Celeste wouldn't let her stay more than a few nights. Matilda's apartment apparently didn't have room for her either. She started asking mutual acquaintances if they could help. And word got back to me that nobody wanted to get involved. The last day of the month, she texted me 17 times. All my cards are canceled. The locks are changed. My friends won't help me. Please, I didn't mean any of it. I need more time. You're destroying my life over one mistake. I read every message. Then I smiled the same way I smiled in that hotel room. She called me spineless. A joke. Disgusting for caring about her. She was right about one thing. I did worship her like she was something special, but that guy is gone now. And she's going to spend a long time wishing she hadn't killed him. You're destroying my life over one mistake. One mistake. Lucia. 9 months of lies was not one mistake. $6,000 of unauthorized spending was not one mistake. Telling your mother you were engaged when he never proposed was not one mistake. Hosting a rager that damaged his property was not one mistake. Standing on his furniture and calling him a pathetic joke to a crowd of strangers was not one mistake. That's a lifestyle. That's a philosophy. And now that the consequences arrived, suddenly she wants to audit the severity. Celeste won't help. Matilda doesn't have room. The same people who enabled this behavior scattered like roaches when the lights came on because users recognize users and nobody wanted to be next on the support roster when they knew there was nothing left to extract. She's currently staying at an extended stay motel her mother is paying for. Matilda has been texting me calling me heartless. I haven't responded to any of it. Some of you asked if this was worth it, if the revenge felt good. Honestly, yeah, it did. She thought she found someone she could use forever. She was wrong.